Hey guys, it's Cassandra Williams from Educational Innovation 360. Today I'm going to talk about what is role playing. Role play plays a crucial part in coaching. Hopefully I can tell you about some of the things that we do and how we build the confidence in teachers in their classrooms through role play. All right, here's an overview. So here's what we'll cover. We'll talk about some role playing and what you were doing in coaching, some research-based strategies that you can take back to your principal, and some things that you can do, some scenarios of people that are actually doing it in their school. The reason why I say role play is crucial in instructional coaching because it gives teachers practice. So we can practice perfect together before they go in the classroom and try it. And then we have to have some kind of plan Bs on practice. What happens when students do this? What happens when students say that? So that role model is very effective, and to role play is very effective to support our teachers throughout the school day. So we know the research behind role play. So of course there's a greater impact. They're 2 to 3 times more likely to have impact on teacher effectiveness, like what they're doing in the classroom. Let me just say, teachers come back when they know somebody cares about them, right? We talk about teacher retention, job satisfaction. Somebody's there kind of showing some tricks of the trade and how to do things and role play in the classroom. And of course it builds confidence because we're going to try different things and see what works well with that teacher. I like to say there's 4 key benefits. So what are our 4 key pillars of role play? So increase teacher confidence. Like I said, teachers feel so prepared to walk in the classroom to try their scripts that we've worked on together. It enhances, skill acquisition, right? So we're role playing and we have teachers understand the techniques in real time. And so then teachers can work on scripting and sentence stems based on what they would naturally or generally say. And then of course it improves students' outcomes. When coaches give best practices to our teachers, it shows that active practice and role play. And so also professional growth, right? If the coach is learning and supporting the teacher and working alongside the teacher, it continues to help the coach, but it also continues to help the teachers with these strategies, and it overall translates into a student achievement. Now, let me be honest. Role play is fun, but it's very important as coaches to have scripts laid out and to know your teachers, right? And know phrases and know what they can say in case they're struggling with phrases. But it's important that we have clear directions and in the classroom. And so, we used to say like ratio, how much are you saying? How long are your sentences that you're explaining things? But all this matters. We also say disruption, response, like how do you cut it off? Coaches play a crucial part when it talks about like de-escalating. How do we shut down things, or how do we redirect with our teachers when they have for other strategies that they can use, and to give different feedback, or to say, hey, what if we say this, or what if students say this, right? Really thinking about that, and then thinking about what do you do to discuss something when there's kind of a conflict with the teacher with rehearsing? So thinking about what are we doing? Are we taking turns? Do we provide, we have to have multiple student responses to come back with the teacher. So this takes a lot of work for instructional coaches, and of course thinking of pre-observation. I'm always like to say you have to have a pre-observation to kind of see the teacher's personality, the teacher's behavior, what they do, what are they saying before you start role playing. That way you can kind of see what are some strategies that you can pre-script or pre-create, so we can have those discussions around it. So we talk about what is effective. When we're thinking about you modeling teaching moves in real time, you are the teacher now, I am the student, or you are the student, I am the teacher, right? And it does give teachers just a lens on what it looks like. So these are really supportive practices. It's actionable because, and action, and then the role play happens. And then you give feedback in time with the teacher. The teacher gives feedback on the student perspective or gives ideas on what the students will say. This is a wonderful way of having dialogue around role playing and what it will essentially look like in the classroom. So of course, when we role play, we kind of want to avoid, students' names, but sometimes it's good to say, hey, it's a personal conversation between you and the teacher. So it's good to say, hey, what scenario, maybe this doesn't work for Johnny, right? And so what can we do for Johnny? And thinking about some individualized practices that you can do for certain students in the classroom. Make this practice normal. Role playing can be done in your professional developments. It can be done after school with certain teachers. It can be done with teachers' aides as well to train them on how to be teachers. And last but not least, focus on growth. There is no one way to do anything. And I always like to say there's no one answer. So continue to improve your practice, and then you have to celebrate small wins when it comes to role playing because this is a challenge, but it could be so much fun. So we know research says, of course, when you're doing some type of professional development, and especially like role play, it really initiates that active learning component. Last but not least, your steps as a new instructional coach. I always say begin small. What are your small scenarios, like giving directions that you can clarify? Maybe the teacher is standing or slumped over or sitting down giving directions, right? So you have pre-observed that personality, and then you can kind of see what you need to what behavior you should model and what behavior you should role play when giving directions. Continue to establish routines. I can't say it's enough, especially for new teachers. If you are working on routines, role play is great for routines. And then I have a downloadable. It's so great for our new coaches that says, where is the student? Where is the teacher need to be? And then talking through that, what directions the students walk to the carpet. Like, all that is meticulous, but if you can pinpoint what that looks like in your classroom, students will have a clear picture of what success looks like to you. And then I always say, gather feedback. You're always learning as a teacher, a coach, a student. We're always learning, and our teachers and our students want to be the very best, right? And so in order to do that, we have to see what 100% or what excellence looks like. But it's important for you as a coach to help your teacher be able to articulate that to their students. I hope these tips help. If you have any questions, DM me for more. Talk to you later. Bye.